Never wanted to go anywhere else. Maesteg was our house, my home.
We never were in the house, we were always out playing. So I see Maesteg through rose-coloured glasses.
Maesteg is my life.
I'm not sorry 1 minute. When I was brought up here and it was like
I could go swimming up in the mountains. To me, Maesteg is a pretty good place to live.
I loved the dancing, I loved the music.
A full house, but full of love. Poor, very poor. I never had a doll and pram. No. But love, plenty of it.
Well, when I was a child, we'd go up the mountain and have a piece of cardboard and put a bit of candle grease behind it and slide down.
We go wimberry picking, blackberry picking.
we walked all these mountains, the history of the people, the community. That all the chapels were full on a Sunday, and you know, I'm proud to say I'm from Maesteg. How we started, the iron industries, the coals, the collieries, which, you know, brought the people here, the community, how it would live, how you dealt with each other. As we said, helping your neighbours, it's all part of the upbringing. I don't know if I'm biased, but I used to think Maesteg was more of a community than other valleys. I often put it down to the fact that we're a nice wide valley. And it's nice, it's 200 years now, seeing how many people are coming together to remember it. And the reason why we're all here.
My name is Barbara Ann Stevens. I was born in 41 Maiden Street in 1935. I'm 90 years old. My earliest memory, I remember wearing gas masks in school when we were young. I must have been about 5 or 6. And my father always, when there was an air raid, he'd always take us into somewhere safe and stay with us. No lights. No, everywhere was dark. Every window, you ought to have blinds on, black blinds, and there was no lights at all. I remember when I was about 8, the war ended, and we went down to the bottom of Maiden Street and they built a big bonfire, and everybody was happy and laughing and singing. I remember that.
William Neil Perry. I'm from Cummer in the Avon Valley. Okay. Commonly known as Neil. 1944. My mother's mother, obviously I remember, because I was only 5 when she died. I can remember having a row of her because she was cooking and I knocked the sugar over on the floor. No wonder I was good at sprinting. I got out of that house pretty quick.
My name is Mary, was Mary Hughes, Mary Teresa Hughes, Teresa with a H. Okay. And my married name is Jenkins. I was born 19th of June 1940 in 39 Station Street. Well, Aunt Peter was a right old... My brother Peter had only a year and 5 months between us. Oh, I'd be out on the road with the girls, skipping. Ma'am, tell Mary she's skipping out there and go and see her knickers. Mary, get in here. Oh, he was a right tittle-tuck. But I'd have my own back on him on a Sunday when there was cabbage. I'd be smirking at him, drinking but he hated it, and my mother made it. So when she wasn't looking, I'd drink it. But when I wasn't friends to him, he had to drink it. But still, happy days.
My name is Kay Thomas. I was born in 1940 on the 28th of February. I lived in Queen Street. My other brother, my middle brother and I didn't get on very well as children. We went to London once to visit my auntie. My father bought me a lovely doll. And when we came home, my brother smashed her face in with a hammer. So that wasn't very nice.
Gwynfryn George Thomas. I was born in the front room in 18 Cemetery Road, February the 17th, 1937. I can remember my mother throwing me and her into the chicken's run because there was a German plane going around through their school. She was terrified. So.
Well, I was Veronica Rowan, and now I'm Veronica Brennan. 1938, in Morris Street in Maesteg. And there was a fellow across the road, he had a car. And he'd leave us, all us kids now, could get on the running boards, he'd put the windows down, we'd hold on, and that was wonderful. He'd take us and he'd give us all a ride down into the garage and drive into the garage and get off. It was, to have that, it was great.
Lived in my grandmother's house, 27 Britton Road. My mother, my father and myself, and my auntie, uncle and their son Graham.
Yes, we had running water, but we had no bathroom or anything like that. And our toilet was right up the back of the yard.
Well, we had no bathroom. We had the tin bath then hanging on the wall out the back. And like, my mother would have the water ready and we'd have a bath and a toilet down the back. Come out through the back door, across down the 3 steps, turn back around, and it was underneath, the toilet was underneath there.
And I used to come home from the colliery, and in front of the fire then, my mother would fill a bath full of boiling water and then they'd wash in a tin bath, yeah. That hung outside on the wall.
Sunday night, my father, my mother and my auntie would go to chapel, and my other uncle would have us in the tin bath in front of the fire. So no hot water. All the hot water came from boiling hot. But I don't think I could pick them up now, the size of those big cast iron kettles. Mothers didn't work in those days. My father was the first aid man in the colliery.
Them days, Mum was the kingpin of the lot of those, was the boss of the house, like, My mother never worked. Not that she never worked, because she had to finish school, a 10-year-old to school after that. She was at home looking after her mother and looking after her father and her brother that worked in the colliery over here. My father was in the war, the 1914 war. Then he was injured and had to come out. But then he went to work at St. John's Colliery in Maesteg.
Do you know how old your father was when he went to work?
I think he was 13. My father worked in a colliery. My mother had My mother was one of four children, and her mother died when she was 30 odd and left the four young men, and the father left them. He gave them all away, like pips. My mother was given to Cross Cottage down there. They were all given to different people. My mother worked, yes, and she had to work in Cross Cottage for a keep. Oh yeah, she had to work for a keep, and then she went to work in Woolworth. Yeah, she was. Yeah, she was. Yeah, she was like Cinderella.
And my mother married him. She courted him for 9 years.
Oh.
But like lots of families broke up during the war. My mother reared us all on her own. She never remarried. Oh, did she work? Oh, yes, she worked all right. She had lots of different jobs.
My father had to finish then because of dusts, so there's echo shape on him. My grandfather, he was a proper character. A real old-fashioned character. He liked his pipe and his pint. He worked in a different colliery, walking to work every day, and then perhaps you'd get over there, and if his face wasn't fitting or there was nothing, send you home after being all that. And that was at 5 o'clock in the morning.
She always said she would never have survived if it hadn't been for her brothers. And he had a big allotment behind Station Street, and he kept pigs and chickens, and he kept my mother with food. And many times my mother couldn't afford a sack of coal. Neighbours, next door neighbour across the road, he had taken all the big lumps in, but he'd left the ripple and the small for Gerald to take in from my mother.
My father worked hard, played hard, and drunk. He drank a lot, and when he drank a lot, it was horrible. But he was the best father going. Well, my mum was just a housewife. She had us 3 children. My father was a coal miner, a real miner. And on payday, sometimes he took me with him, and my treat was a piece of cake and a cold drink in the canteen.
No, in Cymru, our doctors, Dr Kinsey, Dr Stewart, and they knew everybody. If you went in, they knew you, your mother, your father, you know, the whole family history. So, different today. I remember Dr Stewart, you'd go in and his fingers would be yellow, smoking, and the ashtray be full on the... You wouldn't see that today. And there were times then, you know, for what do you do for stress? Or go and have a cigarette. Somebody's husband would have an accident or possibly killed in the mines, and obviously the widow was going to be struggling, or you know. So and people they wouldn't go over and say, "Oh, because you're struggling, I've done this." They'd do things like, "Oh, I've been baking, and I baked a tart too many. You know, do you want it, or I'm going to throw it out if you know." Nobody belittled anybody. You were a community. It's amazing.
Neighbours were good. Community spirit was ripe.
I had one brother, John. He was a priest, yeah. Well, in fact, he was a canon, higher than a priest in the Catholic Church, yeah. He trained in Lisbon. He was lovely. I didn't know my mother. My mother died when I was about 2.5, and my aunt brought me up. My father was a collier. He had allotments, as like they all did, didn't they? In the wheelbarrow and come home with the goods. He went into the colliery. It was working in the colliery, and his tools were in the colliery. And he decided now that he was going to go in and get them, and they told him there was gas there. No, you know, my father, he'd get it. And he went in to get them, and there was a boy, he went in and tried to pull him out, and he gassed as well.
There was gas explosion in the colliery, and my Uncle Dick was a handsome looking man, and he went in twice and brought 2 men out, and he went back in because Veronica Brennan's father was still in there, and they told him don't go because it's going to blow again, but he went in and he carried Johnny Rowan out on his shoulder, but he was dead. But my Uncle Dick couldn't work again.
And I was working in Peglers then, and that's when I heard my father had died. Must have been about 15, 16. I remember my grandmother, yes. Oh, long black skirt and didn't go anywhere, do anything. She had, they used to call it years ago, senile decay. But my grandfather got killed in the colliery. A stone fell and killed him in Gas Colliery.
My grandfather, Hugh Buckley, he was in a fall in the colliery. I don't know what the result of the accident was, but he died. There was Uncle Jack, Uncle Jim. He was doing his last shift before going to the war, and the rope broke and the stone came down and crushed him. But the biggest blow my mother had was when Brian died. He had what you call, they say thyroid now, but a goiter. It used to hold his chin up.
Okay.
Anyway, he had the operation done in Maesteg Hospital. All successful. We went up to see him. Then after a certain time, then they put him into the ward with the men. For each told my mum, he said, I hope they're not going to put me in the children's ward. But everything was right. But he had a bout of coughing, a bad bout of coughing, and the stitches burst, and he bled to death. Last thing he said to my mother was, Mum, and he went. Sunday, you'd get up, you wash, dress, put your best clothes on, go to 8 o'clock mass, come home, change your clothes, put your old clothes on, no outside playing. 2 o'clock, back in, best clothes on, Sunday school. Back home, same routine, old clothes on, 6:30, dressed up, benediction.
I went to Zion Baptist, English Baptist Chapel, which is just across the road from Queen Street. I went to morning service, Sunday school and different things, and if they had a concert there, which they did many Sunday evenings, we'd listen to big singers, contralto singers like Dillis Boys and, you know.
At Christmas time we had like a stocking with an apple and orange in and some sweets, and that was it. And we loved it. That was joyous, like.
Jill across the road said, I can't get over how far back you can remember the priest. The furthest back I can remember is Father Wolf when I was 6 or 7. And there's been many, many, many priests since then. And gorgeous priest, you know, strict, but always respected. And the police was respected.
Twice on a Sunday, because the middle of the day was Sunday school, which is where I went. And as I got older, I had to go morning, afternoon and evening. Until you got 17 or 18, and then you know, I got other things to do on a Sunday night.
And I was christened in Ebenezer in Garth. It's gone now, but it was all Welsh. I don't know what truth is about it, but they all used to say, boys would say, if you didn't go to chapel or church, you wouldn't have a job, because it's the manager or something was a member of that chapel or a member of that church.
Well, if ever there was any trouble, problems, neighbours would come. Everybody helped everybody, and everybody knew everybody.
And everybody belonged to everybody else, to be honest with you. I had aunties and uncles all the way down in Maiden Street, like. You know, that's the way of life then. Yeah. We used to play skipping, hopscotch on pavement, when they had pavement then, when we were a little bit older.
Skipping, hopscotch.
And I had a friend at the bottom of the street. We used to go down to her shed, and she'd be the school teacher and we'd be the children. And we were all in this little shed, about 4 or 5 of us, wasn't it? And we had great fun down there.
Well, we used to have a lamppost at the bottom of West Memorial Street, and you could, the boys used to put a rope around it and we'd swing around on the rope. We had skates and we'd come down the hill on the skates. There was no cars in those days.
Straw horses, weak donkeys, stand on the wall and jump down off that onto their backs. And we used to play chasing, the sloppers, we used to call it, them. Have a scarf, wrap it up tight across the road and roll it up tight, and then you would chase around the yard. And if they hit you with that, you knew you had a bump.
We'd be playing rounders, cabbage, cricket. If not that, we'd be going down the feeder or the hollies, up the sledging pitch.
We played football, cricket, on back lanes and things, you know, and up the mountain. Spent a lot of time on mountains, building dens and all that kind of thing.
Yeah, we'd go up the sledging pitch, call to old Mrs. Lee for cardboards, sit on them, go down, and Peter landed in the stinging necklace. Service right.
One of us had a birthday and the weather was nice. We'd be up the mountain with jelly and blancmange. One of the mothers would organise it.
The Earling, I can only think of the name, the old Earling and across the cemetery, but there, and we could have a picnic up there, a bottle of water and a couple of pieces of bread and butter, and that's we used to have a picnic.
I remember when we were young, my mother and father taking me up the feeder. That was, and there was a river up there, and that was our day out, like. We'd walk up there, we'd take sandwiches and a bottle of water, and we'd love it up there. And we'd go in the river and play, you know. But that was our life then when we were young. used to go down Celtic bars and say 11, 12 years of age, Jill and I would go in the morning with a bottle of water and jam sandwiches, and we'd be there all day. We wouldn't come home. And Mr. Bosman was the man who looked after the bars, and he used to leave us stay there all day.
Bonfire night was a great night. The whole street was involved in that. You'd have one big bonfire, and we'd have our Jackie jumpers and bangers and rock, you know. Thinking of health and safety today, we used to put bangers in the old milk bottle, you know. Health and safety would go, we'd be shot now.
Only one car was in New Street. And nothing else. And been in Cemetery Road, farming behind Turville Street. And they used to say, "You boys," he said, "you're on about that now, can't. You'll have a time," he said, "I would see it," he said, "but you'll see it, that when a horse and cart or a horse will pass, you'll be all shouting, 'Oh, look, there's a horse, there's a cart.'" He said, "Because when we are making a bit of fuss now about these cars," he said, "them days," he said, "they'd be to a penny." And he was right.
Up the top end of the street, Jones the Regal's daughter, grammar school, Bennett's grammar school, Edward's grammar school. Sure, they never bothered much with us, did we, May? Though I said they were the elite. We were the rough end of the street. But I think we had the most fun.
Auntie Mabel, down in Porthcawl, she had a tent, a big tent, and she'd go down to Porthcawl for the summer. And she'd have a lorry to go down, and she'd have beds, and she'd have carpets, and you name it, she had it. And my mother and her were very friendly. So we would go down, wouldn't we? John and my brother and I and her, we'd go down, and we'd stay perhaps the week there. Going to the sea then, in Porthcawl. It was on the front then, see? And the funfair was on the front there. Oh, it'd be all there. It'd be like it would be like a sitting room. I had a gas mask, but I can't remember ever wearing it. But we were given, you know, the children had them, and they were like funny. You know, they weren't just gas masks. They were like, what can I say? It would be a deck, or it would be, you know, a funny one. You know, I mean, when the bombs were on, going over to Swansea, she had, you know, underneath the stairs, all that was cleared out, and there was a big bench in there, and when the bombs would be on, we'd all be under the stairs.
On Cemetery Road, there was the old lamppost underneath 16 and 17 Cemetery Road. There was one by there was a light by there, because we all sang about when the war came on, finished, when the war was over again. We all sang, all the kids were out there singing. Up till 5-year-old, it was all Welsh in our house. And I went to school and started talking English and things like that. It was very hard. And I started talking English. No one would answer me. No one spoke to me, but there I was sitting there, "Missing board, Mom, missing butter." I said, "English trouble." William dear, she said, "I don't understand you." So that's it. But I said then, and it's always Welsh I spoke, and I spoke Welsh to some of the old men in St John's Colliery when I started at 15 in the colliery. My father was good, never shouted, never nothing out of place. But I could tell my grandfather anything. He was one of the old-fashioned boys, you know. A spade was a spade, and that's it. But my grandfather would give him his last penny. Well, he didn't have the money Them days like it, but to me, he was everything.
The majority of people worked in the valley. They socialised in the valley. And I don't think, on rare occasions, they ventured far out of the valley.
But the horses and the ground was all I loved to there. And I used to take something in for them every day. I was the youngest driving a horse underground. But there was one horse underground, well, he was the last horse from St John's Colliery on top of the pit, Hanover. You big old, they started bringing him up the pit. And the oldest horse was there that my father had driven in St John's Colliery when he was there. Bowler was the lover. He was the oldest horse there, and they couldn't catch him to get him to go back up the pit. He must have thought, well, I've had enough.
I had realised that I hadn't done the work to be any good at my O-levels. So I had an opportunity for a job in the office, so I took it. My mother wasn't happy because you're working for the coal body. The way out of the collieries, if you like, was education. And you became, doctors, preachers, teachers. Those were lots of our age group went into those fields, because education was the way out of the coal industry. When I left school, 16, I got a job working as a pay clerk, and then I moved over to Bryn as a timekeeper. And sadly that closed, and then I came back to Maesteg Washery, and I was there till it closed in 89.
I think I was, and I went to work in Woolworth. Miners then had a fortnight's holiday every July and August. I had to go, my mother always used to have a caravan in Porthcawl, and the manager of the shop wouldn't let me have the fortnight off. So my father came up and he said, I'd like my daughter, we can't leave her home. And he said, no, she's got to work. And my father took me home. He said, well, she's finishing here. So home I came to the co-op in Maesteg. And then I went to work up in Cummercop, which I enjoyed. And then my sister Jill went to work in the paper mills. And she was having every Saturday off and earning much more money than I was. So I finished in the co-op and I went to work in the paper mills. And I worked there then till I got married.
I went to Louis Edwards. I was there a week. I thought that's not for me. So before I finished, I went up to Woolworth, done a test, and I had a job in Woolworth. I wasn't the brightest spark in the sky. But nobody ever cheated me. So from Woolworth, I'd go wherever there was more money. I ended up in the paper mills.
And I went to work in a place called Doris's, which was clothes and haberdashery. I loved the clothes. So as I said, it started at 15, but she finished me off at 16 because she didn't want to give half a crown extra in my wages. So she started another 15-year-old. Oh. After that, I went to work in Briggs, the shoe shop. Shoes, I loved that. But then I had to give up work because my mother was ill. And I stayed at home, looked after the boys and my father.
But I worked underground as a wet rock borer and went riding and with the journey with the drums and things, and I drove the engines underground. Kay's uncle then,
he had
he had a fish shop and sold it to her. And he taught me how to cook fish and chips and do different things in it. And then we had people there that the father, mother, and the father would be going up to the club because they used to work with me in this colony. We go up to the club, especially on a Saturday night, and he used to be going, come on the road, up to the, come on, man. They'd be up there going up, been up the club all Saturday. Then 10:30 they were coming back down, and they were all shouting in Australia. So, but as I said, we knew all, I think. They knew us and we knew them, and we could talk to one another.
They had a monkey parade every Sunday.
Oh no, I wasn't allowed, but I did. Oh yes, you'd go down and you'd walk around the town, back and forth, and you'd meet other boys, you know, boys and girls. But I was never allowed to do that, but I did.
Where the boys and girls used to walk and meet and talk and arrange dates and things like that, isn't it? But I was okay. I was already booked. One stupid fella one night went chasing the girls with the rat. Yes. Him.
On youth club. Oh no. Youth club is a big part of our lives. Well, from the time we were 14 till we were 18 sort of thing, 17.
And then queuing for the Christmas Eve dance. Outside the town hall, us girls with all our rollers in our hair, and in the night then in the dance we'd be all togged up, but standing in the queue, our rollers and our turbans on, waiting to get it together.
Then the men would all come in about 9:30. They had to be in by 9:30 or the doors were shut.
If he was here now, he'd say, you know, when I met your Auntie Mary, she was flat on her back with her legs up in the air. I was flat on my back, but I didn't have it. And I come back from the dance floor and I went to sit down. He pulled the chair away, and when I went down, I knocked my head. I nearly knocked myself out. With that, he came in, but he always had it on. And my mother was strict though. Oh boy, strict. And when I started going out dancing and having boyfriends, you mark my word, my girl, you bring me, and she'd go like this, that much of trouble, and by the time I finish with you, the police will have to take me. Can you imagine me going home and saying, Mum, I'm pregnant?
Oh. I got to be honest, mine. I wasn't allowed to go out much. Not until I met Gwyn. And then he'd come and pick me up, perhaps to go to a dance. I met Gwyn when I was 14 and a half. I didn't like him at all at first. I thought, oh, he was conceited and horrible. Eventually, we went on a date. I think we went to Porthcawl. And I went on this dive bomber thing. And I screamed so much that they had to let me off. They were glad to get rid of me. And we went off and on. We got married when I was 18 and he was 21.
Oh, it
Yes.
And that's where I met Colin.
Oh, is it?
In the baths, yeah. We come down the baths and he was a good swimmer. And that's when I met Colin when we were 15. We parted for a little while, but we got together then when we were 17 and that was it. Yeah. And we went to Cardiff to buy a ring, which was a big, big thing then. And we got engaged Christmas Eve up in the town hall. And that was it, like. And when we got married, then we went to London on honeymoon. And I'd never been to London. I'd never been further than Cardiff. And it was a big, big adventure.
Yeah. And thank God I didn't have the life my mother had because I met him. He was my gift from God. Mm.
Well, the market, we had a lovely market in Maesteg, outdoor as well as indoor. You could go any Friday and buses would come from everywhere.
But Maesteg market, oh, and the old Jewish man with all the cups, the plates up his arm, and he'd be going like that. We used to watch him just for fun. Oh, happy days. Happy days. Poor, but happy days.
Oh, I think the town was fun. It was lovely looking and the shops were full. We had lovely shops here then. The characters, the men's outfitters and things like that, isn't it? And as I said, we haven't got one shoe shop left here. It's ridiculous.
But as I say, to go there Christmas and walk around, and bonfire night the same, they'd have fireworks, you know, on display there. You could buy boxes. Yes, Miss Lockyer's.
There were all lovely shops there. Now, Lockyer's had a furniture shop there, Woolworths, clothes shops, Hapgood with all ornaments and things.
It was clean. It was clean. I worked in Lockyer's, I worked in Leslie's, I worked in the Home and Claudia, and every Monday, every pavement outside the shops was washed and cleaned. And
Mary Teasdale had a shop and you could buy stuff there if it was touched. You know, you could have an apple, perhaps there was just a mark on it or something, but you could buy an apple and it would be half the price or something like that, touched.
There was horse carts, and everybody that was in business had a horse and cart, especially the baker and the milkman and things. Always ask them, could we have a ride? We'd have a ride in anything.
When the miners, 1984, when the miners' strike was, that was awful, the miners' strike. Collins was out of work for a year. No money from anywhere at all. When the mines shut, say, that was the heart of the community went.
we had to strike, you know, with the miners. I was on the picket line there. But we knew they wasn't going to win. And that Neil Kinnock, he had one leg this side, and he had a leg the other side of the fence.
They had soup kitchens, and they'd like Nanty Library now, they'd have a soup kitchen there, and their children, they'd go there to eat and things. Like the old ages, it's awful. The miners' strike was awful. And they stayed out for a year. Everybody did. Whoever was working gave, you know.
I would say it started going downhill. Late 80s. Yes, late 80s when Lockyer's closed and we had Leslie's and Hughes Brothers, all the lovely shops, and started going downhill then.
Early 80s, they changed all the market around. Obviously it takes time to do that, and in that time the stall holders went elsewhere. So by the time they came ready to reopen the market, you did have some, but not like it was. It was never the same. These out-of-town shops were opening up, Tesco's and things, so people started going there and working out of town as well. So yeah, it's sad.
When people stopped caring. Yeah, like I say, outside the shops, And some of the shops, you know, they'd have the wood around the glass, and you'd not only just wash all the pavement, you'd be cleaning the window, and it was a pleasure to walk through Commercial Street and Talbot Street. But now it's...
I remember I used to get annoyed because I'd been in my card shop and somebody'd come in and now I've been in Cardiff all day, walked all around Cardiff, and you've got them here and you're cheaper. I had the thing on my wife that if you can buy it in Maesteg, you buy it in Maesteg. You only go outside if you can't get it. But unfortunately for a lot of people, they went outside first. Well, that I should really should talk about biting your tongue.
I know.
Oh dear, dear.
I just think that as long as they remember their own town, you know, and the shops in the town and things, what the town is like now, and I mean, I think we saw it at its best years ago. You know, it was, you could get anything you wanted in Maesteg.
You wouldn't understand about not having TV and electric and things like that. And I think sometimes it was better then than now. We played out, you don't see kids playing out the road anymore, which I think is sad. They're on these iPads and that far too much, I think. You know, there's so much more to life, and I know they learn a lot from them, but they learn a lot by playing outside as well.
The word no would be a good one. You've got to have some form of control. I mean, don't get me wrong, beatings and that kind of thing are wrong, canes, although I must admit I had a few of those. Because the other thing with our generation, and maybe the one after, you were wrong, no matter what you said. If the teacher said you'd done something, there was no arguing, you'd done it. Or the policeman, or the neighbour down the road, whichever, you know. So, but you don't have that now.
The low wages, what people had to live on, how they had to manage their families' food and what they ate. I mean, families that are hard working, they'd have to have cheaper cuts of meat and cheaper cuts of everything, you know, to make it go round. You don't see that many people keeping chickens and ducks and things like that now anymore. Whereas, as I said, my father had chickens in the backyard. And if we wanted something for dinner, he'd kill a chicken and we'd have that.
But I mean, we wouldn't do anything. If we didn't have the money to do it, we wouldn't do it. We wouldn't go into debt. But I think people think today they can get what they want. They can go and get it, and they haven't got the money to pay for it, but they'll be paying bit by bit or whatever.
Parents got to go out to work today to pay mortgages and not knocking the children, but they want so much and they don't want it today, they want it yesterday.
Personally, Maesteg is my life. We brought our children up the best way we can to believe in God and everything. I do think we're going backwards, you know, the values and everything. I do think we're going backwards.
Over the last 40 years, I suppose, money has grown to be more and more important to people. Whereas growing up in my era, most people were on the same kind of money, earnings, you know. And it's all about things, what you got. Got the latest TV, the latest car, you know, and I'm going, I don't go to Spain for holidays now, I go to the Bahamas, you know. And I think, yeah, you've got all those places. You haven't seen what we got in Wales yet.
The thing is, once you got it, you take it for granted, don't you? And that's with everything. Gee, we got it so easy today, haven't we?
I don't know. They don't want cheques now. They don't want cash. They only want a card. I'm not used to computers and things like that. So I find it very hard.
You don't want for anything. You can get what you want in town, or you can go to Bridgend or whatever. The buses are running, and you couldn't do that years ago.
But there's good and bad in everybody. At the moment, I think there's a bit more bad going around.
People say good morning, good afternoon, but you haven't got that connection.
Because of the loss of the industry in the valleys now, people have got to travel out of the valley for work and things. I can see it, the immediate future then, being residential with people living here and travelling down to Bridgend, Cardiff, or even further now, they travel. Yeah, so we need something to come here now to keep us here. I think tourism could be a big thing if we could promote it properly.
Well, technology has helped us a long way. You know, as I said, where would we be without it?
Yes, I think I am proud of Maesteg.
hospital was a good thing. So good it lost hospital.
I'd say this, thank God we got the hospital. I know there's talk about the hospital, but the hospital I think should stay in Maesteg. Really. And if I would give money towards keeping it there.
Oh, well, I love Maesteg. I wouldn't want to live anywhere else. Well, it's my town, isn't it? You know, you can always go uptown and you always know someone. And I mean, if you met someone, you could always say, oh, let's go and have a coffee. Yes, it is a good community.
What such a lovely little place it was, or what still is. And I just know some people were so friendly. Never wanted to go anywhere else. Maesteg was our house, my home. And I thought to think, the people of Maesteg great. And I said, I'm not sorry 1 minute that I brought up here and little thing like that.
So you're proud of Maesteg?
Oh yes.
Myself now, because there's lots of questions I wish I'd asked when all these people were still alive.